Don't let week 1 training camp hype trick you into drafting bad players. I'm looking at 6 of the biggest storylines, and I'm telling you whether you should be buying or selling those players as those ADPs start to rise right here on the Fast Draft channel. And the first one, Emeka Egbuka. He's been tearing it up at camp. Right now, he's still in league winner territory if that adds up. Chris Godwin still isn't on the field. Mike Evans is in his age 32 season. I'm pretty sure Emeka Egbuka is better than Jalen McMillan, no shade to him. So I expect him to see those targets early. As someone who faded Egbuka, I'm starting to regret that in Dynasty. But right here and right now that we're in the best ball and redraft season, I'm not making that same mistake and I am buying this storyline. Like I said, you're not paying the Arroyo McMillan price, but right now I think that the upside isn't out of the range of outcomes right here at this cost, especially when you consider you could get Justin Fields and Emeka Egbuka back-to-back at a turn. Running backs kind of dry at that point, and you're buying floor plays like Brian Robinson. Josh Downs is still going ahead of him. I still think I'd rather have the better wide receiver and the better offense. There's no way that I'm going to take Khalil Shakir because, again, I think that's a floor play. So this is one thing that I'm going to buy, and I want to get on this now while his average draft position is still low. If we start to see him creep ahead against Travis Hunter, that's when I'll have pause, but right now I'm all in. Next player is a running back, and I never want to victory lap or profit off an injury because that's not what I want. If anything, I've been very pro Najee Harris, but at this point, Omarion Hampton is a smash even at his current cost. Right now, him, Breece Hall, and Kyren Williams are all clumped together in the 3rd round. That's something that's where I'm willing to shop at running back. And if anything, I love Breece Hall and Amari Hampton, and I'm fading Kyren Williams. But right now, I think where you're taking Ashton Genty, Amari Hampton has that upside in a run-first offense with an incredible offensive line and a good rushing offensive coordinator. I'm willing to go ahead and say the hard thing that I'd rather have Hampton at cost than Ashton Genty at this point because they have the same risk as rookies stepping into an offense. But I think Omarion Hampton has the better team, or at least the team that they know they have the quarterback, they know they have a wide receiver, and they've drafted others, and they've drafted tight end. They know they have the offensive line. I can't say the same thing for the Raiders. So right now at that cost with Hampton, I'm willing to take that and smash that in the 3rd round, especially in the rabbit over on Fast Draft. And I'm willing to keep buying in every format if you can do it at this point. I will say that he might not have the receiving upside that we want, but when you're in a run-first offense, I don't think it really matters, and I'm willing to chase that upside at cost. Next player, we move back to wide receiver, and I had some rookies, but now I'm going to go to a 3-year player, Jayden Reed of the Packers. A lot of times we assume that just because an offense doesn't play as well, that it's everyone on that team's fault, or particularly when a rookie comes in that everyone else is just going to fall in line and down the pecking order. I think Jayden Reed's a case that they've been adamant on getting him more touches, and I think with Matthew Golden in town, it's only going to elevate Reed because he's not going to eat all the coverage now that they have legitimate threats on both of the outsides. And let's not forget, Jayden Reed can still play Z, but now they can move him across the slot and they can spread out the offense a little bit more and stretch the defense so he can work across the middle of the field. I'm all in, and the camp hype has been for real. Now, I know this is just a small nugget, but as someone like Jayden Reed, who's only had 53% of the snaps around that mark since he's been in the league, him being in on 2 wide receiver sets is encouraging because they're at least giving him the look. Now, I won't discredit this. Romeo Doubs has also been seen in 2 wide receiver sets. So if anything, this is more, you should fade Matthew Golden at cost, and I would rather have the vets that know this offense and I know can get production like Jayden Reed or Doubs a lot cheaper than risk a rookie like Matthew Golden coming in right away and earning those targets. I'm not saying he's not going to be good or you should sell him in Dynasty or anything crazy like that, but particularly just for best ball and redraft, I think his price is a little rich. But Jayden Reed, that's someone we know that when he gets the touches that he gets the most with them. them. The only problem has been getting him on the field. I'm still willing to take that risk, seeing as that's already baked into his cost. He's one pick after Matthew Golden, after Travis Etienne, around David Njoku. So we're talking about low-end tight end 1, backup tight end, backup running back range, and someone that has wide receiver 2 value right away. To me, that is easy, and I'm willing to buy that training camp hype. And more importantly, Matt LaFleur is a good offensive coordinator, and a lot of their problems they had last year were solely because Jordan Love had that injury. And even when he came back, they were forcing him to go and play even when he wasn't fully recovered. So that led to a more run-heavy offense. If we have the opportunity to spread it out and lean more into the passing game's way as far as the play calling and game script, I think there's a lot of meat left on the bone for Jayden Reed. And before we go any further, if you want to get in on these average draft positions on the fast draft tournament right now, early, before they start to rise, you need to hit the like and subscribe button and keep up with it, because I'm here to help you win. More importantly, you need to have the app to get in on the action. So you can use my code on the screen, JAG, and we'll give you up to a $50 deposit match so you can get in and draft right now. The Rabbit's a $10 tournament. So right now, if you go in, give yourself a $50 deposit, you can give yourself 10 drafts right off the bat and almost max out that tournament. So get in right now and we'll hop right back into it. We're done paying bills, and this has been a huge storyline, seeing as a lot of people are Travis Etienne fans and a lot of people are Tootin fans. But it turns out Tank Bigsby is the one that you may want in the Jaguars. I'm buying it. If you've seen a previous video where I had Laquan Jones on the podcast, I mentioned that I like all of these running backs at cost because Liam Cohen uses multiple running backs and he's a new coach. There's reasons why all these players are good. Travis Etienne is a good pass catcher and he's explosive. He struggles to find lanes sometimes and isn't a very physical player and has struggled with injury. Then you go over to Tank Bigsby, not quite as explosive, but he's a tough runner and a physical player, and I think he fits this style of gap running that Liam Cohen wants to do. Then you go to Bashal Tootin, who had an incredible relative athletic score, and he seems like an athletic Bucky Irving. More importantly, it's where you were taking all of these running backs. Tank Bigsby is only being drafted in 44.4% of drafts. So this gives you someone that only half the leagues are drafting, and this gives you, let's say, RB2 upside if any of this holds up. So when you think at the bet that you're making and the relative upside that you're getting at that cost, there's no way that you shouldn't be in on Tank Bigsby, because you're taking him with one of your last picks in this tournament or any other spot. Let's say you're in dynasty, you could probably get a second round pick for him. You'll want to take that bet in this offense, particularly in Liam Cohen's offense, who I told you we've seen time and time again produce not just one, but multiple viable fantasy running backs. And in Bestball, I think you need to take that role and use that lottery ticket, and I think it's free money at this point. Next is probably the second biggest storyline since we've had training camp start. It's Jacory Croskey-Merritt of the Washington Commanders. This was a 7th round pick that came into a wide open backfield of only Brian Robinson and the ghost of Austin Eckler. He's an explosive player, and I think if anything's true, the Washington Commanders at this point need everybody and anybody to step up and make plays. If he's continuing to make plays like this in training camp, the path to at least be a change of pace back, if not even overtaking Brian Robinson, is there. If you thought Tank Bigsby was a value, Croskey-Merritt is the 169th pick right now, or at least averaging around 150, and he's only been drafted in 13.9% of leagues. Now, looking in the range of players that he's in, expect that to creep up. So again, right now is the time that I'd want to hop in on the Rabbit and get as much exposure to that type of player as possible, because even if you're overweight, you paid very little relative to his cost. We don't know what Debo is. We do know that he looks overweight. Terry McLaurin is still not at camp. Austin Eckler has looked bad for a while, and I think the only touches he got last season were out of necessity because Brian Robinson was down. And more importantly, to Brian Robinson, he's only a plotter, and if anything, I think he's a 1A, and someone like Croskey-Merritt can come in right away and steal touches on third downs, 2-minute drills, or if they're just looking for a spark plug. That is a huge buy in my book. Lastly, we will finish on a tight end, Elijah Arroyo. I've been pretty positive throughout this video. All of these have been a buy. I'm going to give a caveat with Elijah Arroyo. He's been tearing it up at camp. They let Noah Fant go, but AJ Barner is still there. Now, this comes down to tight ends being more scheme dependent than almost any position in football. We don't know if they value the pass blocking as much as they're going to value the receiving. There is the option that they could run 12 personnel, which means they have 2 tight ends at the same time. I don't think that's as likely because I'm unsure of how they're going to use Jaxon Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp at the same time. Now, I believe that Jaxon Smith-Njigba can play the Z role, which is off the line of scrimmage, but still on the outside. But I don't know how often they want him to stay out there and live like that. So that's what makes me wary. But I'll keep in mind that Arroyo is basically a free roll at his cost. He's only being taken in 27.8% of drafts at this point in this current iteration of the Rabbit. Again, that's so cheap I can't tell you not to take him. But keep in mind this is only a tournament with a 15-round draft and no playoff. So I'm only going to take him if he's my last pick. And let's say I took someone like Brock Bowers or Trey McBride. The only way that I want anyone else cracking my roster ahead of those two at the cost that I paid them is if, and God forbid this doesn't happen, there's going to be an injury and you want to insulate yourself from that injury. But if you're going to be taking Arroyo, it's because you faded tight end and you might want to, let's say, take 2 or 3 in one area and you're rolling the dice that one of those noodles stick. That's the only way I'm taking him. I do like it, but I tend to want to reach for Bowers, McBride, or Kittle, or I'm going to double up in the mid rounds on someone like Njoku, Mason Taylor before I'm taking Elijah Arroyo. So if you're really fading tight end and you want to bunch up towards those late rounds, that's when I'm taking him. But I'm really skeptical on how much upside we're going to see in year 1 with this iteration of this team. But that'll do it, folks. Again, those are 6 players, 6 training camp storylines. Stay with me this week. I'll have Josh Hudson on, and we're going to talk about some of these negative storylines and give you our panic meter and talk about this offense. As always, hit the like and subscribe. I'm Jagger May. Love you. We'll see you on the next one.
So I thought I needed.